bienvenue pour un autre épisode de Fox et Father. Ronald et Père. Comme moi, Laurence, Fox et vous.
The father.
All right, calm down, dear.
we don't do the Francais.
French are amazing. You can lick the pavements here. It'd be grand.
What are you doing there other than invading?
We're buying champagne. So because we're not doing like the world's flashiest wedding, we are doing little touches that we think are going to be better for, that are touching rather than, just that thing of where people like hire choirs to sing Ave Maria and stuff like that. Isn't that funerals actually? So we're in Troyes in France, and we drove out into the Champagne region yesterday and went to a place that we were recommended by a friend to buy some champagne, and the guy was really, really nice. And the champagne cost 30 odd euros a bottle. And I was like, this is victory. Because you can buy it in London for it's available to buy in London for about 150, 160 quid a bottle. But then I realised, me being a maths genius, that it's probably about 150, 160 quid a bottle, what with the driving back and forth and all of that sort of stuff. So it's got a...
How many bottles do you like to take back with you?
49 or 48 per person, I think.
Oh, that's good. That's worth driving then.
So Lizzie's bought... I've used up Lizzie's thing, and we're now going to use up hers if the Frenchies are open tomorrow. And we're relaxing in Troyes, which is, very beautiful. And the cathedrals, and I was thinking last night when I was wandering around, I was like, Ireland and France remind me of each other, that the religious centres are at the centre of everything. But it is, it's spectacularly clean, spectacularly efficient. The French do some things very, very well. But it is also spectacularly city-like, So it's very... Diversity is our strength everywhere.
Yeah, the major cities in France are fallen, aren't they? But there's still lovely places in the more rural areas.
I haven't seen them. Whereas in England, you'll see a mosque or something like that. You don't see mosques here. I haven't seen a mosque here. You see these huge...
Well, it's a very irreligious place, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you tell me. They have these huge cathedrals everywhere.
Yeah, but they're all pre-revolution. The problem with France is they did away with their kings. They also did away with their god, unfortunately. The state doesn't like religion, and most of the people at this point don't like religion. There is a thriving Catholic demography over there, but generally speaking, the French don't like it.
You know what I like about the French? Is they love a bit of smoking wherever you want.
They do. Are they with cigarettes? They're not on the vape.
In a kindergarten, they'll be like, you want a... what do they call ashtray? I can't remember. You want an ashtray? Like if you were literally reading non-drag queen story hour in a kindergarten, they would offer you an ashtray to do that with. So I will remember the name of an ashtray because I've had to ask one about 300 times. My French is not as good as I thought it was, but I think...
Harrow boy, I'm sure you've got perfect French.
Oui, c'est vrai, sinon... C'est magnifique, mais parce que...
I hear you've been judging Lizzie's French as well.
Yeah, I've been mocking Lizzie because Dr. Scholler, he was on her last legs. Do you know Dr. Scholler? The one that...
Yeah, that racist who's always invited onto mainstream television.
Or not, I think, nowadays.
I haven't heard from very well, but I'm not really engaged in that scene.
I'm not sure Dr. Scholler's being invited on TV. So when the mainstream media were reporting about cars accidentally running into people in Liverpool, totally without a driver, I said something like, you can't hate them enough. And Dr. Scholler said, look at racist, you're a terrible racist. And I was like, exactly, who am I being racist against? And
wasn't the driver white?
I think the driver was white. So
you're the same racist as her then, as in that you hate white people.
Exactly. I don't think it made a great deal of sense. Let's put it that way. So Dr. Scholler tried to have a little pop at me, and it didn't really work. But what was more interesting is Dr. Scholler's fans. And you'll know this because I see this a lot in your direction, which is that if you happen to have the misfortune of being born as a mongrel like you and Lizzie, you know, a half whitey, half blacky, you are you get so much more racism from the darker side of life than, you know. So this one comes on the chat because Lizzie quite likes engaging with them. I mean, I think, you know, good for her on many levels. So she engages them, and one of them starts calling Lizzie a bed wench.
Right, I'd never heard this term before until you.
So we Googled it while we were having dinner, and we almost had a row. I mean, we don't really have a row, but we almost had a row because it's hilarious actually. Lizzie's like, the French don't do vegetarians. They're like, what? You want why?
Like, you want a vegetarian? Have a steak tartare. Yeah.
Have a steak tartare. What's your problem? So we were almost having a row because she'd gone 24 hours without eating any food, and I was like, we'll just stop at a shop and get you some olives or something. And this woman comes on and calls her a bed wench, and I was like, I quite like the term. So obviously, you know what I'm like. Any opportunity to wind anyone up, I will take. But then we Googled bed wench, and bed wench is like a black woman who would sleep with a white person to try and get out of jobs. So I was like, whoa. And this is from a black woman, and Lizzie's sort of responds in her grown-up normal way. And I just decided to adopt the term bedwench. So obviously I'm assuming that people jump onto my timeline a bit later than usual, and they're going, why is he calling his missus a bedwench?
It's just, it's ridiculous. What? So someone's racially abusing Lizzie. Why? Because she happens to be mixed race and marrying a white woman. Are mixed race people not allowed to marry white people? Or is it black people are not allowed to marry white people? It's this old-fashioned racism. And it's
I think it's actually an issue, though, because if you think about it, in identity politics terms, you've got to pick a side, right? It's strange because you get like Lewis Hamilton, who goes, he's mixed race, and so he's decided to pick the white side, and therefore he can do Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. But someone like Lizzie, who doesn't really pick a side at all because she doesn't really care about skin color, as any non-racist, sensible person does, just gets attacked like you do. And some of the stuff that's being said to her is appalling.
It's awful. I don't think you need to pick a side, but I think these racists, they adhere to the one-drop rule. So you're either white, 100% white, or there's any black in you at all, then you're 100% black. It's like, that's absurd because it erases half of a person's heritage. Like Lizzie and myself have half white family, half black family, and that is the wholeness of ourselves and our families. Like, to disregard half of that is just, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know why people want you to fit into one of those boxes. I suppose it helps make the attack easier. Like, how can you use a racially derogatory term against Lizzie that is targeted at black people? She's not black. And also, what's wrong with black women marrying white men?
Well, a lot, apparently, according to my timeline, because once she started looking at my timeline, I then started looking at my timeline, which is something I generally try and avoid. And so you can't win. So on the one side, you got the Steve Lawses of this world, and the libs hate us, you know, these sort of big American accounts going, you know, you dirty blood mixer or whatever they go on about. And then on the other side, you've got, you're just like, she's a racial gatekeeper and you're just marrying her to try and like convince us that you're not a racist. I'm like, there are easier ways to convince you that I'm not a racist.
You care about these odd anonymous trolls online enough. You care about what they think of you enough to go out and marry someone and spend the rest of your life with them to prove a point. It's insane.
I know she's also, by the way, I don't wish to be a bit racist about her, but she's also, one of her middle names is Inez, which I think smacks a little bit of Puerto Rico or somewhere in South America. So she may be a thing, you know, I say anything. She may be one of them too, a bit.
But yeah, these so-called anti-racists are clearly the biggest racists. You and I talked about this way back in the day. We did a video on it, but they don't have enough self-awareness to realize it, that they're literally sitting there attacking a mixed-race woman for who she's choosing to marry based on her skin color. That's racism. Like, these people are...
I genuinely think it's over. I genuinely think racism, in the sort of progressive sense of the word, is finished. Because they've demeaned the word to such a degree that the actual racists now are just like, wicked, I can be totally racist to anyone I want to be.
That's true.
But they take a pop at me. And I mean, we find it amusing. So I've been calling her bedwench on social media for the last week. Well, since whoever said this, people go absolutely bonkers. And the funny thing is, it's like people comment on your life. Some of them do it in this really sort of really faux serious way. They're like, "Oh, Laurence, I really expected better of you. You know, you lost me."
I hate that emotional blackmail. It's like, why would I care if you're disappointed? I don't know who you are. Like, your opinion of me doesn't matter. I'm not doing anything to serve you.
Unfollowed.
Yeah. Good.
Unfollowed while still following you.
They don't unfollow you, but that's the thing. The ones that hate
they don't.
For you to follow you.
And we were just, and we're lying in bed just like giggling our asses off, going, that, but yeah, I thought it was very interesting because I thought Shola, like there are a lot of things I say that are quite contentious and controversial, but that wasn't one of them.
No.
Saying you can't hate them enough, which is, and obviously I'm referring to the media, I'm not referring to like an amorphous bunch of people who aren't white.
But she saw that and jumped on it and thought she had a way in.
And she got massacred. So I think that the whole anti-racism movement is dead.
Good.
But I literally think it's done. I think they've demeaned the value of the word so much. And to think that 5 years ago, I cared enough to go to sit through a libel trial to try and have the word racist defined, that now I'm just like, it doesn't mean anything. No words mean anything. It doesn't matter. None of it matters at all. Anyway, we've got onto that quite quickly. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Good. It's finally spring here in West Michigan. I've just been unpacking over the last week or so just getting all my bits in.
I see a little on-air sign and a little helmet there.
Well, you haven't got yours today, so I thought I'd have mine there.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, the set's looking good. I'm starting a diet. I unpacked a load of my clothes. I was like, oh my gosh. I can't even...
Wait, stop, diet? Yeah. Why are you dieting?
Because I just realized, I didn't realize how much weight I'd put on until I opened my clothes. I was like, there's no way I'd fit into that now. So I'm like,
are you American fat now?
Not quite American fat, but it's getting there, isn't it? It's like...
What? I don't know. You've taken the beard off. Surely the beard is the first thing you would like keep to hide the fact that you're turning into an obese bastard. Hang on.
Let me hiding anything. I am who I am, but yes, I need to...
You look all right to me.
Thank you, but didn't you call me Fat Cow on the cruise?
Did I call you Fat Cow on the cruise? Oh, I'm a terrible person.
I've been unboxing, unpacking, started a healthy eating regime, and just getting on with the day-to-day parish ministry. Lots to do. We've got a patronal festival coming up at the end of this month. We are St. Paul's Church. That means that when it's St. Paul's feast day, we have like a big celebration, like a yearly celebration, like a birthday party for the church, really. So organising that's looking good. That's about it. Got a wedding coming up here, and then we've got a wedding coming up in the UK, which should be exciting too.
Yeah, apparently you're involved.
Got my flights booked, and I've rented a car. So this will be my first time driving on the wrong side of the road. That'll be interesting.
Thanks for not coming to my stag do, by the way.
I know.
Really appreciate it.
I had the day before.
I really liked your message. It was like, brother, like you've mastered the skill of asking for forgiveness instead of permission. So you're like, brother. And the minute I read any WhatsApp from you that begins with the word brother, I know that I've got to like buckle up.
I felt very bad. I still feel very bad because I want to be there for you, but it's just so far and I've got a burial the day before. It's just practically impossible. It's one of the cons. I think you should 4,000 miles away.
I think that burying someone is a little bit more important than my stag do, so I'm fairly nonplussed about that. But you will be missed, and I will. It's about the most low key stag do. Yeah. I mean, it's actually pretty high key stag do, but it's in terms of duration. Lizzie's hen do, her second hen do, is lasting 5 days. She's going overseas.
Wow.
I'm in charge of all of the kids. Well, she's not really, but she does quite like champagne. And it's quite funny because obviously I love gin and I love wine and I love all of this stuff. So I'm sort of usually I'm kind of navigating through the world going, oh, that looks nice. Let's have one of those. Whereas she's like, I'll have an elderflower, please. Ew. And but since we've been here, she's had a couple of glasses of champagne and it's made her a bit more feisty and quite amusing.
I used to like your gin and tonics on a Sunday after church. They were the best. The strongest gin and tonics. Like you get the gin and make the tonic touch it. And,
yeah, you just show the tonic to the gin and then move on.
No, yeah, just really like settling in and prioritizing the parish. And I think your wedding will be the last trip to UK this year, actually.
What about Scathos? You got that booked?
I haven't got that booked. I'm still working that out. I need your help. It's to get there is easy, but to get back is like a 30-hour trip. That's insane. So I need to find a better way.
Not. You can fly Heathrow.
From Seattle to Grand Rapids. The quickest I could find was 27 and a half, and most of the flights were 30 hours. Most of the trips were 30 hours.
It's Grand Rapids, not a hub.
No, but I mean, Chicago is just down the road. I can fly into Chicago and come out from Chicago.
There you go. Scathos, London, Chicago,
anyway,
Grand Rapids.
We'll discuss it off air. I've got a wedding here, so I need to get back in time. But I want to be in Scathos, so I want to make it work. If we can make it work, that'd be amazing.
Well, also, if you don't come to Scathos, you're going to have a very, very, very upset Eugene Fox.
Yeah, it's true.
Because I've said to Eugene Fox that Calvin's coming for the... He was like, how long is Calvin coming for? Because he wants to know everything.
It's the highlight of it, yeah. It's just me, you, Eugene and Winston on that boat in the middle of nowhere. And when the waves aren't too high, when we don't feel like we're dying, but that's bliss, man. Just everything else is...
You're pleased to have coming to Scathos.
Yeah. But I need to make it work.
I can tolerate, but you're coming to Scathos.
I need your help.
No, don't. Yeah, we're not using the Fox and Father to do all this sort of stuff. Can we talk about some like current affairs or stuff rather than just like normal? What are you drinking?
Just the salsa water. It's nothing exciting.
Okay. Right. Let's get some structure into this.
Right.
What are we going to talk about?
We have to address the driving into the footballers in Liverpool.
Yes.
I haven't tweeted about it, but it's obviously horrific. Obviously, we've seen so many angles. There's so much footage of it now in the social media world, but clearly, it seems like at least the driver in his car was going down a road. I don't know if that road was pedestrianized or if cars were allowed down there, but if they were allowed down there, they shouldn't have been allowed down there. It should have been pedestrianized. The number of people in the road was crazy. But it seems like he was trying to get down the road, and people were not appreciative of that and were attacking his car. And then his response seems to have been to floor it.
She's a weird response. I don't buy that as a narrative at all.
Okay, what am I missing?
Well, okay. I can understand someone getting frustrated and like just like barging a bit, but I don't imagine someone just going, I'm really pissed off, so I'm just going to run over 40 people.
They're smashing your car window, and they're kicking your car, and they're punching your car.
Yeah, but he turns right into the crowd, whereas the street was fairly empty going forward. So I don't buy it.
I didn't see it that way. I just saw it.
Okay, well,
busy.
Hang on. Let's Theon put the video in now.
Okay. Which one? There's so many. Do you think there's an ulterior
it's
motive?
the video from the window. So the video from the window, he's driving down, as we've just seen. He's driving down straight. He turns right into the crowd to run over as many of them as possible. Now, look, it's very difficult to understand the motivation of any psychopath or anyone under great amounts of pressure. You know, there's a lot of studies done back in the day about stress, causations of stress, and they did. They put heart monitors on people, brain monitors on people, and got them to do things like kill people in wars or get on the tube. And they found that it was very analogous. Like the levels of stress that people were under were rush hour tube journeys were pretty similar in stress levels to.
Gosh.
You what?
I hated the tube. Honestly, I remember like as a student, I would be late to lecture because I'd get down there and it was like sardines. I'm thinking in a culture that's obsessed with health and safety, we're allowing hundreds of people to squeeze onto these. I'd wait like 2 or 3 to come by until those rooms just stand on like a civilized human being. I couldn't stomach it. The one thing that gives me anxiety is the tube.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely dreadful. But I don't know what motivated this guy. I imagine it's something that's pretty close to what you're saying, which was just he was frightened, angry, pissed off, or whatever it was. And it doesn't explain him turning right.
No.
And it also, for all of the people in the world that are like, white people, they're like celebrating that it was a white person.
That was interesting that the news straight away were 52-year-old white man. It's like, wait a minute, we're allowed to know the ethnicity of the perpetrator again now, are we? Oh, interesting. And then the headline came up, we won't always release the ethnicity. Oh, okay, so you only release the ethnicity if it's a white man. So therefore we know if you don't release the ethnicity that it's a non-white person.
That's why I think the melanin thing is done. Like, I genuinely think it was never an issue. Maybe I was just naive and closeted when I was a child, but melanin was never an issue. It's not an issue for my kids. They never talk about it, and unless it comes out in like sort of weird talking points from their school, it was never an issue. You know, and I'm sure it was in certain parts of the UK at certain times, but it's never been an issue. So I think the race grift is dead, and I'm really happy that it is, because if your melanin content is the most interesting part of you, and that's what you sort of define your meaning by, then you're fucking dull. Yeah, you know, like you're really boring.
People are looking for a thing about themselves to find interesting, aren't they? So whether it's trans, whether it's the sexuality, whether it's ethnicity, people need to find their faith again and remember that it's not actually about you, not about what makes you interesting from your immutable characteristics. It's about your communion with each other. It's about loving your neighbor. It's about being a part of a community. It's helping make the community a bit more interesting place rather than making yourself a more interesting person. When you stop worrying about being interesting, you become far more interesting, actually. But these people,
and also when you stop being afraid, you start being more interesting as well. Yeah. I would say, which brings us on.
But I just do want to say, all those people, we should pray for all the people that were caught up in this horrific incident. Whatever the motivations, whatever happened, some people were seriously injured, and I don't know if there were any deaths, but it wasn't
no, there haven't been any deaths. Okay. You could. But seeing as everything's blissful now for everyone, which is so boring about this world, you could make the argument to say this was a copycat attack. You know, why has no one made that argument?
Copying what?
Well, all of the other people that run people down at Christmas markets.
Right.
You know, you could make that argument quite coherently. I think what it goes to show is that, you know, there is no, everyone is evil. Everyone is capable of evil. It doesn't matter, you know, black people are not more innately evil than white people. White people are not more innate. Everyone is capable of evil, which is a sort of kind of universal truth that we should all acknowledge. The thing that tempers evil is the confidence of the society in which the evil is committed. So if you live in a very harmonious society, a sort of Swiss society, for example, uber harmonious, lots of direct democracy, all that sort of stuff, there's not a massive amount of crime going on there. And if you live in Chicago, good luck. It's a reflection not of the ethnic makeup of a society. It's a reflection more of the confident structure of the society.
I don't know.
Would that be fair enough or not?
Maybe, I don't know. Where there is diversity, there's lower trust. So you're right in the harmonious part of it is important. When you have a society or a city or an area that is very diverse, there's less trust in that area and there's more crime. When you have an area that is more homogenous, there's higher trust and less crime.
Yeah, which would make sense, right? So Victor Davis Hanson is very good on this. He talks about the difference between either Athens or Rome, can't remember, and Thebes, where Thebes did first cousin marriage and all this sort of stuff, and Athens didn't. And they were like, we want borders between us two because we don't do that. Yeah. So I just have a very strong sense. Are we on June?
We are tomorrow. So when this comes out, we will be here.
Holy month starts tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be that much for hoo-ha about it. I think woke is.
Yeah. Good point. June is the month of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. We have our flag up already outside church. Just remind everyone, it's the month that we celebrate the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which is so loving that he gave himself for us on the cross. It's nothing else. It's not a month of any other thing, particularly not a month of any sin.
For me, it's a month of burning pride flags. I love burning pride flags. I'll do it a week. I mean, I'm quite sad that my gay friend's not going to come to my wedding because he thinks that me burning the pride flag is homophobic. And I'm like, if only you bothered reading, updating yourself on what transgenderism is, you'd understand that I'm defending your rights, even though you, obviously, as a belligerent, homophobic Christian, wouldn't appreciate my point of view on that one. I'm trying to defend it.
They always talk about rights. Everyone wants their
no one wants
their responsibilities.
Responsibilities are better than rights, aren't they? Responsibilities are better than rights. Tommy's been released from prison.
Tommy's out. He made it out. He came out looking like Tom Hanks from Castaway. Bless him.
What do they call him? Tommy Robinson Crusoe. I loved it.
Yeah, that's good. But first thing he did was get a shave, look clean shaven. He looks happy and he looks productive. I thought he
doesn't look subdued, does he?
No, I thought he'd come out looking broken, but he looks on fire. He's locked in. So I think the establishment's going to come after him even harder next time. They're already talking about what the next charge is going to be.
It's amazing that I was listening to his interview with Ezra Levant this morning, and I was very, very, I was sort of blown away by the man's courage, actually. And true and genuine in as much as we can be in 2025, martyrdom for the cause of free expression, and very much saying that, as much as it was imposed on him, the prison was imposed on him, that it was also a choice of his. He could have run.
That's true.
And he didn't. And he handed himself in. And Justice, by the way, audience, look at Lord Justice Nicklin. So we're compiling a list. I am, and others are, and we're compiling a list of these people who we think are probably the most deviant and corrupt people in the world. And have a look at Lord Justice Nicklin. Go and have a look at him and see what he has done. Personally, Tom Robinson, I've also come across it in my libel trial, and there's a lot to be found out about Justice Nicklin. So have a look. I feel a bit kind of torn, because one of the things that came out of Tommy's interview was that he was saying how good the prison staff were, but how bad the situations in prisons are. And you understand that in in an election cycle, you're never going to go, we're going to like make more prisons. That's not going to get you voted for, is it? It's sort of high end policies that are going to get you voted for. But, you know, I really feel for these people. And then who work in prisons. There's some of the hardest work in the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, I really feel for these people, and they do it that, you know, I'm not sure it's just something you end up doing. So it's not.
Right. It's more of a vocation.
I think it's something, some part of you wants to do it. And I don't think actually containing prisoners. I mean, obviously we were Hollywood, fucking Hollywood, where everyone's got a trans child, and Sleepers and these movies that present prison officers as the most demonic, horrible people. Tommy was very, very generous, spirited about them.
Which is charitable of him, but there's been a lot, there's another area, there's been a lot of research in this, is that it brings out the dark side of human nature, being the prisoner, being the detainee, not detainee, what word am I looking for? What job is the prison officer? The person who...
the controlling element in the Milgram experiment. What's it called? Stanford Prison Experiment.
Stanford Prison Experiment. So the gods all turned every time, and it's kind of like there's something dark in our nature that when we are the prison gods, it brings out the worst in us. And like you said, we all have the capacity for evil. So I don't think it's particularly an enticing job. So I suppose there is some respect due to people who can do it and do it well. But it's also a case of, I don't know, why would you want to do that job?
Well, it's not a very well-paid job. I had a really great friend who worked in the prison service, and it would tell me horrendous things that were going on. But it was interesting that Tommy was saying he would have rather have been out in the general population fighting for his life every day than he would have been locked up. And this, bearing in mind that this Labour government, who have over 98% prison capacity, and, you know, they're really struggling for cells for people that speak, like me and others, had 16 cells on either side of the corridor. So that's 32 cells, segregation cells, that they reserved just for Tommy Robinson for a civil wrong. And it makes me so furious that I sort of go, where is the appetite in the public? I suppose your average person just sits there and goes, well, Nigel Farage will sort it out. You know, that's the kind of general view of the dissenting voice within the public. Like, this is actually a majorly serious problem. And if you're, whatever you think of Tommy Robinson, if you're pro the way he was treated, to me, you are part of the problem. And I think Dostoevsky said that you can judge a society based on the way it treats its prisoners. And they treat them pretty badly. And that's not that, when I say they,
no, I'm not
talking about the prison officers. Yeah. It's the establishment that put him down. And he's come out.
Where is the justice in all of this?
There isn't any. There's no free speech, so there's no justice. And we talked about this last week. I said I'd become a free speech absolutist. And I think I need to like just work my way through my little autistic brain. But I'm coming to the point now where we have to have complete free speech absolutism, or almost to the whatever the highest level is, because that man spent 7 months in prison. You know, they denied him visits.
That thing came out from the US this week as well. They said they won't allow officials into the US from countries that do not support free speech, the countries that oppress free speech. I think they were hinting at the UK. They mentioned Europe, but they didn't say any countries in particular. But I think they're hinting it up.
But why? How can Starmer sit there going, I'm a very big supporter of free speech?
We have a long history of free speech, and we're very proud of it.
It's like, you're a lying fuck. I hate you. I mean, no, I don't hate him, and I don't hate anyone.
Need to get the square count.
But sorry, fine. In the square box. I don't hate Starmer.
I know what you mean.
I just go, you're a horrible, horrible way of going about things. And he's like, well, I do like free speech, but I don't like incitement to violence. It's like three people getting arrested every day in this country.
Right. It's the gaslighting.
Like tweeting stuff.
It's the fact that we know people personally who've been arrested for retweets and Facebook comments. And we know that 30 people are arrested every day in our country for social media posts. It's the gall of him to sit there with the president in the White House and say we have a long history of free speech, which we're very proud of. It's like, it's the line to your face that gets to you, isn't it?
Yeah. And the fact that yesterday I got a call from my son and he was mugged in Canton in, Diversity is Our Strength Central. And he's a smart kid. Like, he's a really, really smart kid. And these people who mugged him, who was Arab kid and a black kid, they were wearing face masks to start with and balaclavas within the minute they started instigating the crime, right? And this is my kid. So, he's a smart dude. So like, my dog's in that shop and they're like, show us your phone. He's like, no, it's a Samsung, it's fine. And he's quick as a hare. So he darted out of it. But I'm like, my child is having to run away from people that are about to commit crimes. They're about to commit crimes because their faces are covered. And it's a hangover from your ridiculous, stupid, sorry, swear jar, face mask policies.
Again.
And these people are walking around mugging. If my son wasn't smart, which he is smart because thank God he is smart and he's a wonderful human being. If it wasn't smart, he could have got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Well, some fat pig. And then I want to be generous to the police because I'm sure somewhere there are some police people who are, genuinely give a shit about law and order. But, if I saw a kid in a balaclava or even a balaclava hat but with a face mask on where you could roll the balaclava down in 2 seconds, I'd be arresting and stopping and searching them immediately.
Well, back in the day, the police would have told you to take it off or they would have given you a clap around the ear. These days, they can't do any of that. And they let them get away with it. Again, it's low trust society. These highly diverse, low trust society. Your child should be mugged outside of a shop in the middle of Camden, for goodness sake. It shouldn't be happening.
No, it shouldn't.
It makes me
look, you're going to have it. Well, I've been mugged. It's happened. People, you in cities, you get mugged, but not in a place where where your mayor is telling you that diversity is our greatest strength. I'm like, no one knows who these kids are. I can tell you one thing, they're not born in Britain. They're not. And because I could tell they weren't from the description of the story. And these kids are thugs. And they're putting my son's life in danger. And I'm like, you are policing tweets. So the 30,000 foot view of it is, this is just abominable. Yeah. Abominable behavior.
Crime rates increase around us and they go after your tweets.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's have a look at what some people have been sending in for questions this week. So, questions. We got a lot of questions in the last. We've had 1 minute on each of our timelines. So, the lovely Lacey has chosen the spiciest ones for us. So let's have a look at some of these. Just Chris Davies, friend of ours, says, hello both. I hope this finds you well. How far should civil disobedience go when it's obvious that we are being lied to, gaslit, and fed misinformation by our rulers on a daily basis?
That's me straight into prison, isn't it? But if I gave my honest response to that one, I would be straight in jail. I'm a firm believer of the fact that we're not represented by our rulers, they are, they're corrupt and they're dreadful, and I fully would support and celebrate anybody that had the courage to, mix it up a bit.
Well, we're supposed to follow all things lawful and honest, but when the Bible says all things lawful and honest, it means within God's law, not within man's law. When man's law counteracts God's law, then we're supposed to disobey it. We're supposed to follow things that are right and just, and disobey anything that's not right and not just.
So where does surrender to Caesar, what is Caesar's bit come into that then?
Well, exactly there. So if Caesar is impeding on God's law, then you don't follow Caesar. If something is irrelevant, then if something is secular, follow it. But if the secular impedes on the moral, then you don't have a duty to follow it. In fact, we have a duty to disobey it if it's immoral. So
I feel like that's kind of what I live by.
Yeah.
Which is like, you do something wrong and immoral and cruel, and why it would seem to me wrong and immoral to cruel to obey it.
Yes.
I mean, maybe I'm just autistic. I don't really know, but it's like, no, thanks. And I think the Farage thing will cessate some of the desire for civil disobedience.
True.
But and I don't think there's going to be a sort of leftist uprising, because I think they've kind of done it. They've done it with their Palestine shit. They've done it with their. I think they've kind of run out of bullets, really, in their strange little world of trying to cause. It was very interesting to listen to Wilfred Riley. Have you listened to Wilfred with Brendan O'Neill? He's really good. He came to the conclusion a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests were basically people just trying to avoid COVID restrictions.
Fair, yeah.
He was like,
at that time.
He was also like 70. The funniest line he came out with in the Spiked interview, which really made me laugh, was, what are the chances of Carl Rittenhouse firing 4 shots in a Black Lives Matter protest, hitting 3 people, all of them white, one of them a wife beater, one of them a paedophile? It's like, what are the chances?
Providential. Jennifer B says, you both have been through a great deal of personal attacks. Has that affected your families, and how do you support one another?
Good question. Okay, well, tell us, unless you don't want to tell us. I know about your situation, so you can either tell us or not.
Yeah,
or I'll speak.
It also affects our families, and that's the worst, to me at least, that's the worst thing about it, because we put ourselves in the limelight. We stick our heads above the parapet knowing they're going to get chopped off because we think it's the right thing to do. However, that has an impact on the people that love us, and that's so hard. It's made my mum ill occasionally, worrying about me, and so then I have to take a step back. And people are vicious and mean and hostile because they don't see us always as people. So the people that do know us as people and love us as people, it affects them. And so I think if people had a bit more empathy, a bit more emotional intelligence, the people saying that Lizzie's a bedwench, for example, if they realize that this is actually someone's fiance, this is someone's mother, this is someone's daughter, this is just a human being who's making her way through life the best she can, as the rest of us are. She's found someone that she loves and wants to marry. Like, if you don't like that, so what? It's your business. What does it have to do with you? Nothing. But if they had the emotional intelligence to realize typing these nasty words online may or may not directly impact Lizzie, but it also may impact her children if they see that. I don't know if they're on social media, but one day they may be. And if they come
all on social media,
they may not like that. Like, people just need to stop and think, how will this affect the person I'm talking to or about, and how will it affect the people that care about them? And so it has an impact.
Yeah. Interestingly, yesterday, someone, I can't remember who it was, someone sent me a message saying, have you read the paper? And I was like, no, because I don't ever read the paper. And they're like, Google yourself. So I Googled myself, and it was Jamelia Jamil saying that she regretted the way she spoke about me, describing me as a very, you'll get upset.
Oh yeah, she said I sounded like an idiot.
And yeah, so that's the first time in 6 years that there has been any coverage of me as a person in the mainstream media, which hasn't been Laurence Fox's Hitler. So that was kind of interesting, I thought. Yeah, it does have a really big effect on one's family. It's certainly, I mean, look, families are divided anyway. Families were divided over COVID. Interestingly, my family, it was one of the few things my family weren't divided over. We're a very opinionated family, but we were all, without ever speaking to each other and going, this is a pile of rubbish. We were all very much on the, we're never getting jabbed. This stuff is crazy. We're not doing it. And we didn't. None of us did. And I think we're all very grateful. My dad actually did, because he was old for a little bit. But then the minute they said, have another one, he was like, no, thanks, that's awful. And we were all very against COVID. But it's this sort of, I know that James Lindsay calls it the right-wing woke thing, but I'm very anti-Puritanism.
James Lindsay's gone off the deep end massively.
I know we don't agree on James Lindsay.
He got ostracized from the Liberals. He's always been a Liberal. He got ostracized from them for calling out critical race theory and all the critical theories. And so he's found himself with a bunch of right-wingers who's like, oh my gosh, I don't like these because I'm a Liberal. So now he's attacking the right to try and get back in with the Liberals, who are never going to take him back. And now he's ostracized himself from both camps. And he's lost.
But
he's attacking Christians left, right, and centre.
I think there's something more to it than that, which is that there's a Puritanism in conservatism, which I find irritating, to say the least, which is that conservatives who are very disorganized and won't kind of agree with each other on things, generally will go, you have to agree with me on this. You have to agree with me on Palestine. You have to agree with me on net zero. You have to agree with me on this. You have to agree with me on that. And I'm like, well, actually, unpopular opinion, I don't agree with them on everything. And they then, I sense this very sort of puritanical streak in people where they go, well, if you don't agree, then you're the enemy. And it's where the centrist dad vibe comes from, actually, which is why Farage is so effective. Is what he does is he adopts a centrist dad position. So he waits until most people agree with him. He's like Piers Morgan. He waits till most people agree with him on something, and then he just takes that position.
Lack of conviction, it's called.
Yeah, I think it's cowardly and craven, but it is. I can understand why people do it, I suppose. But to return to the question, I think it is very difficult to not be outspoken, but to speak out about things that are bothering. And I've said this a lot, which is that 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, when I sat on Question Time, everything I said then was absolutely fine now.
Yeah.
And I think everything I say now will be absolutely fine in 5 years. And in Tommy Robinson's case, everything he said 20 years ago was fine. But then you look at the lawfare, and I'm right in the middle of it, they will not stop until they get you for something, these people. They're really, really unpleasant people, which actually sort of stirs your resolve. It doesn't make you go, oh, I'm frightened, I must, withdraw and run away. You're like, nah, fine. You want to fight? Fuck you, I'll fight you. And I don't want to, I think, as I said again last week, I don't want to live in a prison in my own head of my own creation. I'd rather live in a prison you made me than I would live in a prison that was made for me. It's like, fine. So yeah, it's not fun. But I have found, and I've said this before as well, I have found that it regardless of the political persuasion of the individual, I have found that it's very, very much more easy to talk to people who are convicted in their views, be they views I disagree with wholeheartedly or not, but people who really genuinely can argue their points, I admire, and I really can, and a lot of those people are people I disagree with hugely. Anyway, hit us up with another, or add something to what I just said. Up to you.
But yeah, we love our families very much. It's very difficult when they become collateral damage. Bit of a curveball here. Bly says, what's your favorite film?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, God. My favorite film is The Naked Gun.
I've not seen it.
Not a man on this police force will rest, nor Mrs. Nordberg, until Nordberg.
Oh gosh, is that Steve?
Attacker is found. Now let's go and grab a bite to eat. It's Leslie Nielsen. It's so good.
Leslie Nielsen.
It's so funny and so good. I mean, there's so much irreverent stuff pinging around from back in the day, which like you watch it now and you're like, even I hate to say it, but Bambi, like watch Bambi now, and it would have trigger warnings all over it. We used to be much more morally tough than we are now when it comes to offense and being offended. But yeah, Naked Gun for me, and
I can never get behind his corny humor.
Well, that's because you're a weird right-wing conservative freak. What's your favorite film?
Man on Fire. Denzel Washington, one of the best actors of all time. Georgia Banning, Christopher Walken, and Mickey Rourke. What a movie. Good Catholic movie, good moral story. The good guy dies in the end, but it's a story of salvation.
I love
redemption.
Actors. I love actors who want to perform roles that represent their own internal struggles. So my dad always used to say to me, in a sort of mocking way, when I was at drama school and I was, trying to be like good at acting. And my dad would always say to me, well, you're lucky if you've got 1.5 characters in you, and he's kind of right. And Denzel's always been a very, very amazing actor, but he basically quite often plays sort of a similar role, which is a very tormented man who has a lot of demons. He needs to overcome them, and he's willing to sacrifice his life to do so.
He understands that we're all sinners and we're all fighting our demons. Absolutely.
Yeah, and who else did that? What's his face? Bruce Willis did that as well, with slightly less talent. And Mel Gibson does it a lot. It's very kind of redemptive, and it's about the failures and the fallings of man, and really wonderful and exciting and brilliant. It makes for the best films because you leave the cinema feeling that you can be something bigger and better than, that's the point of cinema really, is to inspire you to be, it's to inspire, and it works really well with those sorts of performances. And Denzel is by like many, many leagues, with Leonardo DiCaprio just behind him. Well, actually quite a lot behind him. The finest actor living today.
Right, let's do one more question. Wedding champagne or communion wine? We covered that one already. Why is the monarchy still a thing? Serious question.
Yeah, good question. You tell me.
I think the monarchy is still a thing because we're a country founded in tradition. When we came together as a country in the 10th century, it was a country that believed in the divine right of kings. And so we get the rulers that we deserve, and no one has authority over us that God doesn't give them. And we've been a Christian country from that moment onwards. So Rex Anglorum, the first king of England, up until today. But it's about our connection with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It's not just about, this is something that's old-fashioned and doesn't seem very relevant to today's world. It's about actually our country is God-ordained, and our ruler is not just serving us, but serving God too. And that means he has extra accountability, or should have extra accountability. It's important. It's not about actually tourism or how much money they make, or these are all silly arguments that secularists will make. It's about our connection with God and our place in his kingdom. Truly.
Well, yeah.
When the Queen died, her orb and her scepter were placed on the altar, returning the authority from whence it came. And when the king was coronated, he received them from the altar in a Christian service, a Christian mass, actually, with the elements of the, relics of the true cross there. This is a sign that the authority is not his, it's his.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that would make a good Hollywood movie. But King Sausage Fingers sat in Canada and went, "I'd like to start this meeting by saying that we're on the land of the Apache and the Simocucho." And it's like, you know what,
unceded land.
Fuck
the unceded land. It's
what the fuck?
it is really annoying because
there's going to be swear box, by the way, here. So I need you, all of the people that watch Calvin, because he's very nice and grown up and doesn't swear. You have to deal with the fact that we speak, and he tolerates the fact that I go fuck off. It is so unambiguously deluded. It's I can't think of the right word. It is the most disingenuous thing to say, to start a thing by going, this is the land that we stole from the Saskatchewan. It's like, no, they stole it from them. You stole it from us. We stole it from, like, if you live there, it's yours. And that's what wars are fought over. Welcome to Vladimir Putin's land.
We won.
Like,
we were the winner. This was a good thing.
Yeah. I'm so sick.
But,
I mean, look, we had it good. I'll give you my take on it. I believe that the monarchy is a good thing because I would much rather have a king with no power than Tony Blair, President Blair with some power. Like, I'd much rather that. But I don't think like this sort of feckless idiot Prince Charles, who you can watch me play. Actually, I played him in an ITV drama called Whatever Love Means. He's a feckless twat of a human being, and that's my king. You know, back in the day, I would have been under on quarter for saying that, wouldn't I? And you'd probably be in the front row going, "No, Domine, good, good fucking riddance."
In Gloria Patria, please, little tongue, please.
But like, "Pal, can you help me out?" You're like, "Sorry, mate, no, you've got to go." But he is a feckless twat. I mean, you sit there into unceded land. You imagine the amount of crap that. Another thing that came out was the from the Lizzie Shola thing was side wench. So someone called her the what she's called the bed wench, and then someone called her a side wench. Now a side wench is someone you have on the side. And as a young person who will remain nameless said to me, she went, "Well, it's because he's got a side wench in it." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And they were like, "Well, his side wench is telling him what to say." And the idea of Prince Charles, of all people, who is given an absolutely glorified existence by the people of this country for no other reason other than the vagina that he happened to pop out of, sitting there and talking about the unceded land.
But everything in our lives is through accident of birth. You know, our nationality, our race.
No, it's not.
All these
No,
things.
it's not.
Huh?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Not accident of birth.
No.
We are fortunate enough to have been born in Great Britain. We could have been born anywhere around the world. It's an accident of birth. He happens to be a king because he happened to be born in that royal lineage.
Yeah, but that's just that's probably not true, because
What do you mean?
the whole of woke society is built around trying to stop that happening. So there are some.
I feel like you're going to go off on a tangent now. We're wrapping up, Laurence.
I'm okay.
Let me just say, the King's speech was awful, and I disagree with it myself too. But the King doesn't write his own speech in Parliament; the Prime Minister does. And so this will have been Mark Carney, woke Mark Carney from Camden, who will have written these horrible words about this is unceded territory of X, Y, or Z. Of course, it's not unceded territory.
Well,
Canada
leave
is
then.
Canadians.
Fucking leave. Just leave. Give it back to the. Can you hear the bells?
Do they even exist? I don't know.
Can you hear the bells?
No.
Oh, I can hear the bells. They ring them out a lot. Anyway, I'm not trying to go off on a tangent. What I'm trying to say
do your tangent. Go on.
No, I'm trying to say that the greatest gift that any human being has is the ability to live and to forge their path through life. And the idea that everything about woke ideology is the fact that you're in some way victimizing the press and therefore you can't succeed in some way. It's all excuse-based. And as you say, rights-based rather than responsibilities-based.
Sure.
The idea that you couldn't claw yourself up from the very, very bottom in life to succeed to the very, very top is a great injustice done to people that have done just that.
Sure, all of that's true, but that doesn't...
It's anti-meritocratic, it's anti-optimistic, it's anti-Denzel Washington's movies, it's anti-Die Hard 1, 2, and Die Harder. Come on. See, I won, didn't I? I won the argument.
I have no problem with it. Yes, we can work from the bottom to the top in terms of secular success and create something wonderful, great. But it doesn't help us escape our immutable characteristics. It doesn't help us escape the accident of birth. Yes, we can happen to be born in Sri Lanka and work our way over to America and fulfill the American dream. Yes, but you're still Sri Lankan, right? And so the king will always be the king because he just happened to have been born to the queen. And that's a blessing and a curse, I'm sure. I'm sure for us, it looks like a blessing. For him, I'm sure many times it looks like a curse, but it just is. Life isn't a meritocracy. Like, we try to make a meritocratic society, but life is not meritocratic.
Okay, we're going to have to do the whole show on this next week because I've got a lot of points where I'm going to argue with you about this. I've got a lot of things I want to say about this. But as you quite rightly point out, we're wrapping up now. So,
O God, the King of glory, who has exalted thine only Son, Jesus Christ, with great triumph unto thy kingdom in heaven, we beseech thee, leave us not comfortless, but send us thy Holy Spirit to comfort us, and exalt us unto the same place whither our Saviour Christ is gone before, who liveth and reigneth with thee in the unity of the Holy Spirit, ever one God, world without end. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for watching.
Friend.
God bless you.
Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.
Thanks for the questions. We appreciate them. I know there are a lot of questions that we didn't get to, but we can.
We'll get to more. We'll get to more next week. Fox and Father follows. I would open my phone to find if Fox and Father follows, but I think I'm going to say, just because on the top of my head, Charlie Bentley Astor.
Oh,
I'm not sure if I've encouraged people to follow her again before, and that's the only one that popped. I can't open that phone because it'll switch the recording off for some reason. These phones have decided they want to talk to each other all the time. Anyway, have you got a little follow?
Yeah, at Bishop Dewar. He's one of the...
Are you talking about Bishop K. Dewar? Are you talking about him?
Because he's one of the few Christians in the UK that sticks his head above the parapet. He's received cancellations for it, like most of us have, and I think he's trying to rebuild his ministry, his public ministry. We have very different ecclesiology, very different theology, but I support him as a brother in Christ.
Good. Well, I will say to you, Calvin, that it's been great speaking to you this evening. I really enjoyed it. I've got the church bells going on outside.
I love church bells. There's nothing better.
Oh, they go on all day. It's great. I don't even need an alarm clock.
The devil hates
Now
bells.
I'm going scouse. Oh, quickly, Andrew Laurence.
Oh, yeah?
Did you see his joke?
A comedian made jokes. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. How dare he?
That's literally it. Comedian makes joke, people get upset. He's very funny. I really like him.
Commenting on my Substack this morning, Dan Wotton, how dare you laugh at Laurence, at what's his name, Andrew Laurence?
Yeah.
Oh, the situation in Liverpool, how dare you? I followed you until now. And obviously she was replying to the wrong thread because she was replying on my Substack, not on Dan's. It was actually a Fox and Father post. These people, when they get upset, you know how it is. But I was like, this is a comedian making jokes. The subject of the joke isn't, like, the topic of the joke isn't the subject of the joke. And even if it is, it's a joke. The moment we start cancelling comedians, it's no longer, you're not allowed to be funny anymore. That's free speech gone. You don't have to like the joke. You don't have to laugh at the joke. You do have to appreciate that it's a joke.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, Calvin Robinson's Extreme Logic Crusade, which is what we'll call it from now on, I will let you be, and I will go and try and find my wife, and I hope, well, no, she's not my wife yet, but my soon-to-be wife.
Send Lizzie my love. Don't drink any more of your wedding champagne. Save it for the wedding.
I
I'm
won't.
looking forward to it. Have a lovely time on the train at your stag do, and I'm sorry that I won't be there. But let's make sure.
You better make sure Skylos happens, otherwise it's bad news for you.
I'm doing it for you.
No, I know it, but that's not true. I don't like it when you talk to me like that. All right, I love you. Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Bye.